Hey guys, it's Tim coming at you with a review of the new Voltron series, Voltron Legendary Defender. Making this the third American-made Voltron series after Voltron Third Dimension and Voltron Force. However, unlike the other two series which acted like continuations of the original Voltron series, this one is a full remake that restarts from the beginning. The characters who we follow in this series are pretty much the same as the characters we've had in all the other Voltron series, with some minor alterations here and there. Our leader this time is a character named Shiro, whose full name was actually taken from the Japanese version of another character from the original series. He starts off the series being captured and experimented on by the Galra Empire, who unknown to the people of Earth have been ruling over the galaxy for the last 10,000 years. Shiro himself is a renowned pilot of Earth Galaxy Patrol. Next up we meet Lance, who is trained to be a pilot himself for Galaxy Patrol, but due to his brash, jokey, and somewhat lazy nature ends up messing up more times than not. His mechanical officer is Hunk, who is very smart and mechanically inclined, but is also very cowardly and kind of socially awkward. Their communications officer's name is Pidge, who's a child prodigy in the academy. We also find out later that Pidge's brother and father were also on the same mission where Shiro got captured as well. We also find out that the only reason why Lance is able to go through the pilot's training is because the patrol's former ace pilot candidate Keith washed out of the academy due to unknown disciplinary reasons. Shiro manages to make his way back from the Galra Empire to Galaxy Patrol and tells him about the threat, but they seem weirdly dismissive of it and sedate him. Because they find it odd that they would so easily dismiss someone of such high regard, and also because Pidge's brother and father went missing on the same trip as well, but they seem to be trying to cover it up, Lance, Hunk, and Pidge decide to go to break Shiro out, only to discover that Keith beat them to it and was doing it as well. After finding out that Shiro really doesn't remember all that much between when he was captured and getting back to Earth, the five of them discover a giant robotic blue line in the desert which is somehow able to communicate with Lance. The five of them are then brought by the blue line through a wormhole where they end up on an alien planet where they find a palace with several pods in it containing the princess of the Altean people Allura and her royal advisor Karan, who had been frozen there for the last 10,000 years. Allura then decides, due to Lance's ability to communicate with the Blue Lion, to make the five of them the Paladins of Voltron, the most powerful weapon and guardian of the universe. The others then have to track down their lions so they can form Voltron in order to defend the universe against the Galra Empire and its evil king Zarkon. And that's the setup to the basic premise of the series, but past this point this is going to be a spoiler-free review. So overall, I like what I've seen so far, but I wish that there was more. Now, I don't know if they planned on releasing this in half seasons and then finishing off the season later, or if they're just doing these sort of short seasons that connect into one another. But yeah, after watching the first 13 episodes, it feels like I've hit the mid-season finale and not the season 1 finale. Now, I don't expect them to resolve and address everything that's happened, but there's certain stuff that I wish they had gotten into in these 13 episodes that they hadn't. The biggest one of these being Keith himself. It's hard to get a gauge on what exactly his deal is. He's a skilled pilot and he's the designated, more rebellious loner member of the team, but unlike the others, I feel like I didn't get to know enough about him in these 13 episodes. And half the time in the episodes when they weren't focusing on him, it seemed like the writers didn't even know what Keith's deal was. So half the time it just feels like he's bouncing back and forth from place to place without any real direction in where the character's supposed to be going. I mean, in the first 13 episodes, we don't even get what it was that Keith did to wash out of the academy. He also has a rivalry with Lance similar to the original series, but I can get more so why Lance has a problem with Keith due to his more loner personality and the fact that he's a better pilot than him and everyone knows that. But I don't really get why Keith bothers with Lance. I mean, I get it, Lance is supposed to be obnoxious, he's supposed to be an unlikely kind of hero, but he's really not any more obnoxious, I feel, than Hunk, and Keith didn't have any problem with him. I just feel like they could have fleshed out Keith better so that we know where he's coming from more. Though I feel like they're saving all of that for a future arc where Keith sort of takes up the position that he had in all the other Voltron shows, but I feel we could have gotten more before that point. As for all the other characters, I feel they do fine. They all play the roles that they're supposed to play, and they do it well. No one on the show I feel is unlikable. I also think that the acting from all the voice actors in this series is very much on point. My only point of contention with it would be Kimberly Brooks as Princess Allura, and while she doesn't play the role badly, the faux British accent that she's doing can kind of drop in and out here and there. As far as the story goes, like I said, it feels like we've only gotten half of what was supposed to be the first full arc of the series from this. And it's kind of slow starting off where they do all that team building, learning why you're part of this team style stuff at the beginning. When they actually started moving forward with the plot, I was very much engaged with it, which is why I wish that there was more of it. I wouldn't really say that it's that hard to tell where exactly the series plans to go in the future, especially if you have even a cursory knowledge of the original Voltron series or any of the other Voltron series. There are some twists throughout the season, and while I won't give any of them away, I will say that a lot of them are pretty easy to see coming. But they don't really stake all that much on their twists, so it really doesn't affect the overall enjoyment of the series. And like I said, there's a lot left to answer, so I am interested in seeing where this series goes in the future. The animation of the series is also very solid. It was done by Studio Mir, who had previously done The Legend of Korra and the Guardians of the Galaxy animated series. And with the production being run by two former employees of Avatar The Last Airbender, you can definitely see the influence that Avatar had on the animation style of this show. I mean, for proof of this, look no further than the character of Lance. The way he moves, the fact that he has smaller eyes than the other characters, and even the cadence of voice that they have Jeremy Shadi use for him pretty much make him resemble Sokka. And this is by no means a bad thing, it's just that I'm giving you the forewarning that you're going to be thinking of Avatar a lot during this show if you've seen it before. Overall, I'm gonna give the series a 9 out of 10. I like where it's going so far, but I wish that there was more here, and there are some flaws throughout the series. But the good elements of the series outweigh any of the unexplained or bad elements of the series, so I definitely recommend looking at this show, even if you've never seen a Voltron show before in your life. But what do you guys think? Well, let us know in the comments. If you like what you've seen here, feel free to subscribe. We have a Patreon account that you can donate to if you feel so inclined. But until next time, this has been Tim from the Hybrid Network, signing out.